City of Stevens Point Board of Water and Sewerage Commissioners meeting, recorded January 8, 2024.
The minutes of last month's meeting are in your packet. Are there any additions or corrections?
I didn't have any.
No. Is there a motion?
Move to approve?
Second.
All those in favor signify by the sign of aye.
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 Aye. All same sign, motion carried.
I'm gonna see if this works better just because it's closer. Yeah, okay.
Water Department claims. Questions?
On 58537, had a water lateral break. Was that weather related or just seemed?
What was the number again?
58537. There's due to a water lateral break. Oh, for the Dairy Queen.
This is, yeah. You wanna walk them through that one or you want me to? I mean, it was kind of a big project.
Yeah, it was. There was it was the water service to Dairy Queen on the east side, and their service crossed Highway 10 all the way to the south side. So the break was underneath Highway 10, and the absolute best way to fix that was to have them directional bore a new service in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where, so not weather related, but road and pretty deep. Everything's really deep over there too.
So there's a trenchless installation of a water service and there's a trenchless repair of a sanitary sewer lateral there, all under the two westbound north lanes of the highway. So we would have been into that for many, many thousands in concrete. And we still may, to be honest with you. We don't know if a void was created under there. We've told the county because they're responsible for roadway maintenance in there. But we're gonna watch it, but either way, just timeliness and everything, got it done without excavating the road. So that's the water portion. I don't know if we have the sewer invoice on the sewer side or not, but.
What about 58510? Repair due to water main issue.
Yep, that's it.
Is that related to the 537 down there?
Yes, it is.
Yep, same job.
Okay.
That's the trenchless lining repair of the sewer.
Correct, yes.
Yep.
So by monitoring, I mean, are you just waiting for the
Yeah.
highway to slump or?
Yeah, watch for some cracks. Yeah. It's deep enough that it may never show. And we also don't know how much material was moved. So, that's why we let everybody who'd be interested aware so they can keep an eye on it. And if it shows
It was low water pressure at Dairy Queen. They suddenly lost their pressure,
Oh,
so we knew,
you could do it pretty quick then.
Yeah.
Like months of,
No.
we knew something was wrong.
yeah,
They had to be on temporary water for a little while, but
yeah.
Number 58515, a water pipeline lease.
Oh, that's railroad. 58515? Okay, I'm going there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Wisconsin Central it said, but
Yeah, it's still weird. Some stuff still comes across that way, but that's CN. Anytime we cross a railroad, there's essentially a leased crossing. So they approve crossings on their line. And after you've gotten approval to cross and you've done it to their specs, you pay every year for being there.
really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions on water? Not, we'll go to sewage. Same routine, any questions?
58486, was that a capital project?
Yep, that's part of the dryer, the biosolids dryer being down.
Mhm.
That's part of the repair to get it back up. Insurance claim.
Oh, okay.
What'd that one end up being total, Chris? like, do you remember total dollars on that?
I do not, but it was a lot.
About 3 times that, right? Or was it twice that? I think it's either. Oh, we can come back to it.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
On your memory, Chris.
If I had written the actual number down at one point altogether, then I would know what it is, but
Yeah.
without sitting down and adding it up, I'm gonna screw it up, so.
Now, 58557, is that mold remediation, is that, general or is it specific area?
That was our water lab, or our water and wastewater lab.
Uh-huh.
We had a, drain fail and dump water behind our cabinets, and nobody noticed it until it actually showed itself coming out of our cabinets. So we've got that charge here, and then there'll be another one coming yet because the contractors just finished up, putting everything back the way it was, a couple weeks ago.
One of the big items here is when they removed the cabinets and got back there, the whole wall was cobbled together with fittings from the past. It was, so there was a bunch of plumbing to do to get it to a point where it was all plastic without a bunch of fern cones and everything. So, I mean, we put it back together as right as it can be and then put the cabinets
It is-
back in. So some drywall had to be replaced, and that's where that comes from.
There were 11 fern cones and 10 feet of pipe. So somebody had cobbled it together pretty well.
Yep. Earthquake.
Yeah. And no, a fern cone was not the reason it leaked.
It was earthquake proof.
I wouldn't expect it.
Other questions on sewage? On to stormwater. Questions?
Oh, thank you, Mary. Total dryer claim was 328,606.
And then our final set of claims is fiber. Pretty short list. Motion to approve all of the claims for those departments is in order.
I'll move to approve.
Second, Nachman.
All those in favor signify by the sign of aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Not included in your packet, but laying in, the table before you are the capital operations and maintenance plan for 2024. Joel?
Yep, and I've also got it up on the screen now too. Made some changes this year. There's been a few over the years, but one of the things we decided maybe last year, or the year before, is just that rather than showing past years, if there's anything we haven't done yet, we just put on the current year. So we get it reapproved just so it's kind of fresh, right? So anything in the past, we're either underway, it's approved and we're underway, or if it hadn't started yet and we need to keep it on the list, it's on here. So the top items on each water's blue, sewer's red, storm is green, airport's blue here, and we'll act on airport when you guys convene that. The top stuff with a total at the bottom of the black, that's our request, and then where we have future year things, those aren't gonna need really any discussion. We just put them out there to keep track of them so you guys see what's going. We don't need approval on those. They're just kind of like out there somewhere. Even the years might be, will very likely change quite a bit. So, on the water request for 2024, there's a total of just over 3 million there. Of course, the reconstruction project on the top is estimated at this point. And that project, along with the second one there, the repaving project, and those are just, kind of ancillary costs of those projects going on for the 40,000. But the big one, 2.8, that project always comes back for action. So there's a secondary approval process. We're giving you what we estimate our expense to be, but public bidding process is, part of this, so it'll come back for approval. Some of the other highlights here, like I said, it's not a very big year. There is, one thing out there that I'd like to look into a little bit. We've estimated our total expense, between $200,000 and $250,000. You'll see the cold storage, item there about halfway through the new ones for 80. It's because we're a third split. We have, begun overcrowding what we do here. And a lot of the stuff that's in that building does not need to be in a nice climate-controlled building. But our equipment, like our trucks and televising trailers and the things that we need to start up when it's cold at night and we gotta go out and do that, that's all the stuff we need to keep in there. There's a lot of storage. Building buildings as a municipality is incredibly expensive. So I'm not going to commit to that number either being high or low. I'm just trying to tell you we're looking into it. Because somewhere near here, we need to find a place where things can be stored, sheltered, not outdoors.
So is that a new structure then?
Not necessarily.
Oh.
I've got some conversations started in the vicinity here, but, I won't make any spoiler alerts. I'll come back to you guys if we get to an agreement on one.
Okay.
But just somewhere to put stuff that doesn't need climate control. And we're also not allowed, there's some stuff that isn't allowed to be stored outside. Like you're not supposed to have unfinished cast products out in the elements, and everybody does, but the more you can, you need to put them indoors. So it's part of our stormwater rules, but.
Oh, really?
So that's what that is, yeah. And then there's some tools. You mentioned prior to the meeting, the aerial photo. We split that we pay for it every other time. Engineering pays for it. And then the next time we pay for it, and we go between, I'd say, 2 and 5 years. What's that last one?
2020.
2020, so that'll be, 4 years. So it's our turn, they paid for it last time. So yeah, if I move on to wastewater, and you guys can ask questions along the way or at the end, it doesn't matter to me. Same thing, reconstruction projects is estimated. Chris has a few things on here, like, the UV upgrade. He can explain more if you'd like, but we're gonna be responsible for new E. coli limits, which means that we need to have our UV dialed in a little better than we do right now. Another big item on there is final clarifier weir replacements. Are those aluminum right now?
They're aluminum right now from 92.
From 92, so we've gotten quite a bit of life out of those, and they're starting to pit. And that is those kind of like raked fittings around the edge where you see the clear water come over, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So the current year ask on that is about 2.6 million. Anything that I see over there that I shouldn't have? New roof over on the lab building, schools. We have a new staff, as you know, coming on board. We need a vehicle for that there. And the big item on the stormwater one is the storm share of the reconstruct, at 1.5 or so. But again, like the others, that will come back for approval after it's bid. You'll notice on all three of them, I put EV charging infrastructure. And I don't have exact numbers on that yet. We had an electrician here to scope a bunch of stuff out, and there were 3 kind of little projects. 2 of them got prices back and they're already approved, and we'll be scheduling them. On this, what we're trying to do is equip our garage for the future likelihood of having several vehicles that are full EV. And so there was some gear that the electrician needed to get better prices on that he just hasn't gotten yet. So that'll come back before anything's approved. I just put that in there as a placeholder.
But we do have current, service that can
Yeah, so
work with that?
Yeah, the building infrastructure, as far as the service goes, is adequate from what I could tell when he was here. And with the fact that we produce, more solar power than we use, especially during the middle of the day, it's kind of advantageous there. It'll help that system be more productive as far as an ROI,
Oh,
and it'll help our fuel costs go down, and it'll help us meet some goals.
okay.
Oh.
Any questions?
Yeah, on the, the overall budget, I appreciate the brevity here, and it seems a clearer approach than.
It's gonna be easier to maintain the list too. That was a big part. It's like formatting pages and everything was getting really kind of.
Is there a queue or some type of little indicator of potential carryover projects that are on this list?
Yeah, so we can do that if you'd like. If you'd like to know what's in progress right now, about what we have is when reconstruction projects go over a year, which in the past years has happened several years in a row. This year, we're completed. So the big projects, the reconstruct, we completed in this calendar year. Next year, I don't think that'll happen. But right now, the one that I can think of, that's fairly significant is well 12. So that's been a kind of slow-moving process, but sometime this spring, we will bid out that well, the construction of the well. And all the other stuff will come separately. But that has a approved number on it of about 1.2 million, I think, right now. So that's out there and kind of in the works.
So is that now just not on the list, or is it?
Well, it's approved capital that's underway, so I didn't want to get permission for it again because it's approved.
Right,
But
okay.
that's the only one, and we were talking about that ahead of time because this is kind of a new approach. I can certainly add a third category in all these as far as like projects and not completed type thing. We can do that.
No, I was just, because you mentioned that some were being carried
Yeah, so,
forward.
so for example, what did we have on here, Eric? Chlorine analyzer, it's fourth down, I think, on water. That got approved back in like 2000, right? 2020. And we haven't done anything with it yet, so we brought it forward so that it's here again, so it's not just assumed, So stuff that we've taken no action on, we're gonna bring back, so you know that it's still out there. Because a single year's capital can't just be many, many years put together. If it was approved 16 years ago, we're not gonna, that kind of thing. Things underway, right now, since it was really only the one, it's the well project. There wasn't much to list, but that's it, and we can throw that in there.
I noticed on the 2024 water request, down in the shaded area, we've got a Tupper 3 construction.
Yeah.
Is that going to be in addition to the repainting of the, tower over by the mill?
Yeah. So, off,
May?
I'll keep her there. Gotta figure out a way to make this mouse from a distance. We're too far out for me to show. There. So, in this part of town, so this is the business park. If you just focus on blue here, we got water main that comes east of the interstate here, a water main that comes south of the tracks here, and a third that crosses the interstate here on HH. That area, it's those three spots that we're going to isolate and make the pressure zone, so pressure zone 2, where one pressure zone is the city right now, everything beyond those points. You'll see in the same gray area, the pressure zone 2 development. Yeah, we're still working on prices there too, but it is part of a broader kind of modeling effort we're under right now. So everything in the business park, everything in East Park Commerce Center, we'll get a new pressure zone, we'll develop that, segregate it off, but it'll still have the same pressure, and then we'll construct the third tower, because that will be what provides the head in that zone. So we're gonna raise the head out there roughly 30 feet. We'll go from something around 50 to something almost 80 pounds, so that as we develop east, that pressure will drop off again, and we can probably get, we'll get a lot of development within that area.
Yeah.
So that's what that's in there for. There's more to come. I'll have to bring you several different things for approval before we get there. But just as far as looking at the horizon and what's ahead, those things are on the water system. Those two things, the second pressure zone development, the third tower construction, and then treatment out in the well field. Those are all probably the biggest items ahead for future years.
So the two towers that we have now, one out here and the big one over by the mill, are on one pressure zone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which means they're redundant, right? If we need to take one offline for maintenance, we can do that, that kind of thing. And one other thing that'll come up before these, and it's on there as third from the bottom in the gray, $1 million paint tower one or reconstruct or move. That's the one that we're debating, relocating or demolishing and putting up a different style tower that's less maintenance.
Would we most likely keep the same location because of the interconnects with the system, or would we, most likely
I think for that,
relocate it to a higher point in the city?
no, not,
No.
I think the reason we'd relocate it is because of infrastructure. It's either that site or, the site of the former booster station on
Yeah.
Georgia Street. Yeah, because large mains go there, so.
Okay, and we still have the property.
Yep.
Okay.
I have a question related to the wastewater projects, and I see, that our projects listed here are down to $2,000 size projects. Well, of course, that's a split.
Yeah,
I just, I had an ongoing question about the riser that crosses under the north channel on McDill Pond.
yep.
And we used to have like a 5-foot buffer in that from the water to the riser. And we had a pretty rough year with a lot of northeast winds, and we're down to maybe a foot and a half of buffer. I didn't know if that riser is on the list,
Might have to talk to you individually about that one,
Yeah.
make sure we're aware of what you're talking about here.
the bank is
Eroding?
eroding.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And one time, we had talked about lining that as well, and I thought it would be all put together.
Yep. Let's chat a little more about that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and if I need, I'll get it on here as a future project list if it's that big, but if it's just maintenance, we'll just get it done.
Mm.
You're right, these dollars are smaller than I'd normally put out there. And I do, the general spending authority for things that aren't like, it's really weird, because, there's $30,000 meter orders that are routine orders that we've done, just, we do them when we need to. When there's things that aren't like operationally necessary or emergency or everything, I look at that $5,000 level, and when you're splitting something, now you're looking at $2,000 per enterprise, and so how you weave in and out of that is at $5,000 per enterprise, meaning that if it's a split cost, it's a $15,000, I don't know, but on things I don't care to walk that line all the time, so I just put it on there because it's equipment, that way if we ever wonder, we know we got approval.
More than 5 years.
Yeah.
Any other questions? If not, a motion to approve the capital operations and maintenance plan is in order.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor signify by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Pull same sign. Motion carried. On to the utility certifications.
Yeah, so there's two different things going on here. We'll act on the certifications first and then the contract. They'll do this at personnel tonight too. So, it's all kind of in the memo there, but the cliff notes are this. After Act 10, and then with the development of different city pay plans, what we've done is documented the wages that are approved through the city pay plan inside of a contract. And the contract is kind of funny because wages aren't negotiable if COLA is offered, if a COLA commensurate with the consumer price index is offered. So it's not that everything in there is negotiable all the time, but the city identified that things that are definitely non-negotiable, i.e. the certifications we pay. So when we have a lot of state-issued certifications for the wastewater operators, for the utility operators, and everything that have to do with the content of the work, right? So there's a pay schedule for those, as you see right here. Sorry, that's the contract. So this is essentially the same as what was in the 2023 contract, just brought it out and called it a public utility schedule of certification pay. So you can see for all these different subclasses of certification, we pay based on your basic certification or advanced certification. And this has been done since since this group of employees was in a full collective bargaining agreement, so it's just carried on. We've just decided that it's more appropriate to have this exist outside the contract rather than in the contract, which almost implicates it's bargainable, which it's not, and we've never tried to bargain these since Act 10, but, the HR and city legal, wanted this separated, which if it works the same, it's gonna be just fine. So the first action would be to, and also standby pays in there. The first action would just be to approve, this schedule, the public utilities schedule of certification pay, recognizing that until that exists somewhere, we shouldn't take it out of the union contract, right? And then we'll, talk about the union contract. So any questions on this?
You want a motion just for that particular sheet?
Yep, motion to approve the public utility schedule of certification pay.
Move to approve, Nachman.
We have a first from May.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by the sign of aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
All right, and then the, item 6 here, the 2024 Teamsters contract, is the same. So essentially, before it would have had this front end plus the schedule, and now it's just the front end. And again, there's actually nothing in this one that, I'm really sorry, I'm gonna get it remote. There's nothing in here that's very negotiable since the city is offering COLA commensurate with CPI, so there's nothing to negotiate here. But we do need a contract in place to make, the health insurance arrangement we have, work. So, it basically, right here, it documents wages and the grade that each job is in. So this is right, the city has a pay matrix that has grade J, grade H, you know, all of these different jobs are in a grade determined by the matrix. And the starting wage column represents step 1 in that grade. And then this column just represents where, you know, if there's like, there's several utility operators in grade E, it just represents the range of pay for that job with the different employees. So it's pretty straightforward. It's just looking at the pay matrix in a different way. And then we just approved that, so.
Joel, I don't remember us doing this before. Is there a change in protocol?
A little bit. Personnel matters since about the year 2000 have gone to the personnel committee. But when you're doing things that have a financial impact on the utilities or financial implications, I kind of feel like they should be seen here because you guys make the financial decisions for the utilities. So this is a HR matter and they will act on it tonight also, but when we have them show up at the same time, I always go up and say, previously today at the utility commission meeting, they did approve this as presented so that they know that you're in on the financial matters.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Motion's in order.
Question on the certification pay.
Yeah.
Does that, does the city pay the certification or is that up to individual?
The utilities pay the operator for holding those certifications.
Okay, but the certifications belong to the operators?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll move for approval.
Second. All those in favor signify by the sign of aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Water supply.
All right, good afternoon, happy new year. 2 quick points. So at the end of fourth quarter of 2023, the EPA requires us to do the unregulated contaminant monitoring rule, kind of long word, they call it ECMR 5. So every couple of years, there's a list of chemicals they make us test for, all the municipalities in the US. And in this was the PFAS sample.
Yep.
We had a no detect across the board, so just wanted to give you an update on that, even though our preliminary results from the DNR volunteer sampling had just minimal detect on 2 chemicals. This round showed nothing, so I think we're at that level that there's anything detectable. So that's a good thing. Other than that, we're just working on year-end reporting for our regulators, the DNR, Public Service Commission, and our auditors. So that's what we're heavily working on now in the office. Any questions on pumpage for 2023?
Our record high?
Record high, yeah.
Yep. looks-
Barely, but we did it. That actually averages out to 4,800 gallons a minute every minute of the year. So you think 4,800 gallons a minute, 24/7. Higher in summer, lower now, but that's what it averages to. It's a lot of water.
Okay, I don't think we need a motion for that.
No.
Okay, on to the sewage treatment, Chris. Thank you, Ari.
You're welcome.
All right, the Stevens Point wastewater department met all of our permit requirements for December. Overall, it was a good month, a lot of things getting fixed and back operational. You can see some of the reports aren't completed yet because we don't have all the data yet because it's too early in the month to have everything. So if you have any questions on anything that's up there, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, everything I've got has been in writing.
All right, thank you. Jane, construction and maintenance.
Sure, I really don't have a whole lot, construction-wise, other than just been pretty typical, end of year, maintenance and, end of year and winter maintenance type schedules, tracking some inventory and end of year type things like that. And getting ready for some snow coming this week. So that's about it.
All right, thank you. Joel, director's report.
Nothing to add today.
Motion to adjourn is in order.
Move to adjourn.
Favor signify by the sign of aye.
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 Motion carried.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.